Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is On the Heater. My name is Ben Martinez. Missed you guys the last couple of weeks, but I kind of stayed away from week 16 and 17. Wasn't a big fan of a lot of the games going on there, so kind of didn't want to throw anybody off. But this Super Wild Card weekend, I'm pumped for, and we got some great games for you going forward. I'm betting all 6 games. I even have a little player prop for you guys in one of them. I'm not really big on the first game I'm going to give you guys, but everything after that I'm absolutely loving and betting. I got pretty much my top 2 games are pretty much 1A and 1B. They're both absolutely favorites for me going forward, and bet them both in a big parlay. And just 2-game parlay, but a big bet there. I just got back from Vegas yesterday, put my bets in, and I'm ready to roll. So here we go. First game, which is my not so much favorite, but I do like it to a certain degree. I'm taking the Bears plus 10. Really no rhyme or reason behind it. Just love getting points. Really playing the points more than actually playing the teams here. But the reason why I like the plus 10 is I like getting the Bears at that number. A great defense. Offense that's definitely on the up and up. Trubisky's been playing fantastic the last couple of weeks, and since David Montgomery has come back from that injury, man, he's been an absolute freight train running over teams that has been getting in their way. Kind of had a roadblock there, though, going against Green Bay week 17, but they're going against another great defense here in that Saints defense, but with a Saints offense that really hasn't been scoring much. Granted, yes, I know that Christmas Day game, Alvin Kamara scored those 6 touchdowns. That's fantastic, but this is definitely a defense that's not going to allow something like that to happen. Just some quick stats, kind of the reason why I'm leaning Bears here. Bears are defense is 5th against red zone touchdowns, 2nd red zone touchdown percentage, 2nd in the league against giving up rushing touchdowns, which is absolutely great stat to have. That defense really tightens down on the running game there, and when you have when your opponent is Alvin Kamara on the other end. And Murray, you really need to tighten the screws there to make sure that they're not running all over you guys. And even their passing defense is kind of mid tier defense there. But going forward, they're pretty healthy on the defensive end. They may be without Roquan Smith, who's might be a big miss for them. But other than that, they've been playing fantastic. So I have a lot of faith there in that Bears defense to kind of slow down this Saints offense. May not have it that much on the other side, but I mean that's why I love plus 10. You have a little room for margin there, and the Saints defense has also been fantastic, though on the offensive end, passing wise. I'm saying on the defensive end, passing wise, they really haven't. They're ranked 23rd against passing touchdowns and 29th on red zone touchdowns there. So Trubisky and those tight ends might be eating them up once they get into the red zone. Jimmy Smith and Cole Kmet have been playing absolutely fantastic, and Allen Robinson is just a beast. So give me the Bears. I'm taking the plus 10. I don't like it. I kind of threw this game on a giant parlay with all the other games and a couple other side bets there just because, but not counting on this game. I didn't play as a single or anything like that. But so I have the Bears taking a plus 10. Really like that game there just because of the points. Honestly, that's what it is. Give me 10 points and I'll take it. Next game, I love the over in the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns game. 47.5 is where I got it at. It's not one of my favorite games, but man, both these teams just absolutely score, and their defenses have just been absolutely awful the last couple of weeks, both of them. And though you had DJ Watt on the other end, and that defensive line might be able to get a little pressure on the Browns quarterback there, I think that Baker is gonna be able to still throw the ball very well against this Pittsburgh defense, and they rely on those 2 running backs in Hunt and in Chubb to actually just set up that passing offense there. And even though once I was looking at this line, I kind of look at every game before I actually look at what the line comes out and kind of rank it on my own. And I really had this game thinking that it was going to be about a 51, 52 point over under. And once I saw it was at 47, actually I saw it at 46. And I was like, man, I got to jump on this as fast as I can. And once I got up to Vegas, it was already 47 and a half. And that's when I grabbed it. So I think this game almost might be about 49 by the time kickoff happens, because this is the last game of wild card weekend, so could be up there really quick. But this game, the over is just great. Both these teams just haven't done well on the defensive end the last couple weeks. I know all the Browns players Browns coaches got COVID, but they're not really missing any key players in this game because of it. And quite honestly, when I was looking at the line as well, I really thought this game too would be the Steelers about -3, maybe 4. And once I saw it at 6, I was like, they gave up too many points for the fact that they don't have their head coach. And even at this time of the year, like they're already in the playoffs. Like, this is not them learning the schemes anymore, offensive schemes or defensive schemes. These players already know what to do. It's just pretty much the coach letting them know what play to run, a la, when the each snap. So, like the over in this game, got it at 47.5. I kind of like the Browns Browns +6, but I'm kind of staying where I really think this game is going to hit the over before even the third quarter even begins, or it's going to be very close. So over, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, like that game. Going on to my next game, I have a funder for you guys, and this was my funder a couple weeks ago. I actually love this under in the Rams and Seahawks. Both these teams just don't score. Both defenses have been fantastic the last couple weeks. The Rams are the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL, and if they only could get an offense that actually had some firepower behind it, this team might actually be a Super Bowl contender. But the Rams have been awful in the offensive end the last 3 weeks. They've been averaging 1 offensive touchdown a game the last 3 weeks. Just absolutely horrible. And their defense almost has as many touchdowns than the offense has in those 3 weeks. But going forward, both these teams have played against each other twice, because obviously they're in the same division. And they've both been unders. Both of them have not even been close to what the 43.5 is right now. I'm sorry, 43. And I grabbed it at 43. And quite honestly, I think this game might be 42, maybe even 41 by the time they kick off. So, I think this game will go under. A lot of the sharps are on the Rams and getting the points at +3.5. I think a lot of them were a lot higher on it when they got them at 4.5. But even behind that, that's showing that they think this game is gonna go under. Jared Goff may not play in it. He has a broken thumb, though today he just came out and made a statement that his thumb feels fantastic. But I've never had a broken thumb before. I'm pretty sure that does not feel well. And even if they run the other quarterback that they had against Arizona, they're still not going to score more points. Both these teams are going to try to establish the run. And behind Akers and Brown for the Rams, and even Seattle's now 3-headed monster with Carson, Penny, and Hyde, they're going to run this ball, because Jalen is not going to let Metcalf catch anything down the line, deep, and Seattle just has not been throwing the ball well, and so have the Rams just not have been throwing the ball well either. So give me the under. Even though both coaches are great, I think both of these defenses are even better, and both of these offenses are just going to absolutely struggle. So give me the under. Got it at 43.5. That is my third game. Going to my fourth game. And this, I almost flipped on this one, but I took the Bills -6. I was kind of watching the line. I did guess this line right when I did my initial look. I did think that this game was going to be about Bills -5, 6. And it's been hovering between about 6, 6.5. And quite honestly, if it jumped up to 7, I think I would have taken the Colts. but with the Colts going forward, they've kind of been on a slump, and because of that slump, um, I'm really jumping on the juggernaut that is the Bills, who have just been playing fantastic. Josh Allen has been just an absolute beast. He is the second ranked quarterback going against every coverage but cover two. And when he gets against a defense that runs cover two, he's actually been struggling quite a lot and is ranked 31st in the league right now. But the Colts are very well known for their cover three. And that's why I think they've kind of been slumping, because a lot of teams have been on that. So I think the Colts are going to try on the defensive end to kind of disguise that cover three, because they don't want Stefon Diggs getting behind the coverage, behind the safeties. But when that happens, that's when the Bills go low down to Cole Beasley. So this could be a Beasley game if he does play, though he's kind of hurt right now, and it's kind of mull whether he will play or not. That Beasley could be one of those games where he has those 10 catch games. So that's good. And where the Colts are really bad is against the run. And the fact that they made it be without DeForest Buckner again this week could hurt that. And though Moss and Singletary have not been actual world beaters on the running game, it's been actually Josh Allen that's been fantastic with his legs and getting out and running. And this is where I'm going to give you that player prop. I actually really, really love Josh Allen. I saw on DraftKings getting it's 25 and a half rushing yards over under there. And I actually punched that over big time there. Really love Josh Allen there in that spot. Almost as much as I like the Bills -6, but that Bills team I think is gonna do a fantastic job at home. The Colts are gonna be without their cornerback Ian Sin, which is gonna be huge, because you cannot be missing cornerbacks against this Bills team that have just a great wide receiver corps that's actually getting John Brown back this week as well. And Gabriel stepped up. Cole Beasley's been a mini beast down there, catching those little short passes. And Stefon Diggs is, quite honestly, I mean, some could argue him the best wide receiver this year, behind maybe Devontae Adams. But I mean, I don't want to fight about that. They're both been actually absolutely beasts. So give me the Bills. I'm taking the -6 and throwing a little love right there with Allen getting the over with the 25 and a half with his rushing yards. So I think that's an absolutely fantastic bet. Now on to my two absolute favorite games, my loves this week. Both of them, literally 1A and 1B here. And the first one I'm going to give you guys in no particular order is going to be the Titans +3.5 against the Ravens. And I absolutely love this game. A lot of the public is on the Ravens, which is kind of I think why this line has jumped up to 3.5. When I kind of thought about what it was going to be before I looked at the line, I thought it was actually going to be Titans maybe -1 to maybe even an even money game. And the fact that they're giving the Titans 3.5, that half a point is key there, I think. And though this game may come down to an actual field goal, it's gonna be an absolutely just running bloodbath, in my opinion. I see Lamar Jackson running all over this Titans defense, and I see Derrick Henry getting 200 yards running all over this Baltimore defense. And Baltimore has been a pretty good defense this year. The Titans have been awful, to be quite honest with you, but the Ravens have been a great defense this year, and they're the number one high blitzing team in the NFL. I mean, it's almost a giant leap between 1 and 2, to be quite honest. And the Titans are not a team you can blitz, because they beat the blitz very well by running Derrick Henry down your throat, and then right when you pull yourself out of that blitz, then they go deep down to A.J. Brown and Corey Davis. And even though if they may not be deep down there, Jonnu Smith's been one of the best tight ends, so he's kind of slowed down a little bit due to injuries the last couple of weeks. But between those two wide receivers, they've been absolutely world beaters on beating the blitz. And the Ravens are not the defense that needs to go against this Titan teams to stop them. If you look at the model between what the Packers were able to do and what the Ravens were able to do when they both played against each other, it's completely night and day. And quite honestly, I just cannot see how the Ravens win this game. I know Lamar Jackson's going to run all over the place, and that's fine and fantastic. But they're not going to stop this Titans team, especially at home. You saw what happened in the game where they played against each other. I think the Titans were actually +6 in that game, and they ended up beating them by 6 in that overtime game. But the Ravens are just all beat up on the defensive end as well. Multiple cornerbacks hurt, though they'll probably play. And their defensive line's kind of been beat up. They kind of been a ragtag bunch. And the Ravens, this is the key stat to me, is why I'm taking the Titans in this game. And quite honestly, I think the Titans might win this game outright. Is the Ravens have not had a winning game, have not beat a team with a winning record since week 9. Week 9. And we're going to the playoffs now. That was almost 2.5 months ago. So give me the Titans. I'm taking the +3.5 there. I really wanted to take a money line too, but I stayed away. So Titans +3.5. One of my favorite bets. And for my second favorite bet, my top bet, whatever you want to call it, my 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it, I am taking Washington Football Club +8.5 against the Buccaneers. And I even put a little money on Washington to win this game outright. And this is the game I did probably my most research on, because once I saw that line, I was like, oh my God, this is the game. This is the game where Vegas has it absolutely wrong. And quite honestly, again, when I looked at this game, I looked at kind of guessing what the line would be, and I kind of thought it might be around Washington -4, maybe 6, maybe 7. I could kind of see a little bit, but I kind of just thought 6. And once I saw it open at, I believe it opened at 7.5 and climbed all the way up to 9, I couldn't figure out why, and I kind of dug into what the reasons why I thought the Buccaneers would be the play, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find anything why the Buccaneers were the play here. And this is what I ended up finding out, is why I ended up loving Washington. Just quick stats real quick. Washington, defensive rank is 4th in the NFL right now. Red zone touchdowns allowed, number 1 against that. And that's where Brady finds all his money there. Dumping down to Gronk in the red zone, to Mike Evans, who they will probably be without in the red zone. And if Brady can't get those touchdown passes, they're sure not running it in, because Leonard Fournette has looked awful this year, quite honestly. Jones has been the better running back, and even there, he really cannot punch the ball in a lot of times once they get down to the goal line. So again, we have passing yards are ranked 3rd, passing touchdowns ranked 4th against, yards and points ranked 4th against. This Washington Football Club defense is fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and Chase Young gets all that pressure. Will get all that pressure down on Brady, and he's not even the best defensive lineman on that team, in my opinion. So that Buccaneers offensive line is gonna have to bring their lunch pail for that day, because they're gonna get beat up this game. And quite honestly, Brady's gonna look pretty disgusting walking off that field, I feel, after the 4th quarter is over. And on top of that, if you want to look at the Bucs, where they rank, passing yards they rank 4th, passing touchdowns they rank 2. But when you get into the rushing yards and the rushing touchdowns, they're the bottom barrel of the league, and you got to be able to establish that run against this Washington team that just eats up defenses, absolutely just eats up defenses. And the reason why I think the Seahawks were able to beat Washington a couple of weeks ago is because they have a very good running game, and that's something the Buccaneers just do not have at all. And then on top of that, if you go looking into the injuries here, Sue and Pierre-Paul just showed up on the injury report today, and that could be troublesome there. On top of that, too, if you want to look towards what Washington is looking at now on the offensive end, my God, they got rid of Dwayne Haskins. You don't have to worry about that horrible quarterback anymore. He is done off the team. So now you have Alex Smith, who's probably going to get the start in this game, I'm sure. And with Alex Smith, you got an experienced quarterback there, though his mobility is down because of all of what happened, that horrific injury that happened to him. But he still has his weapons. McLaurin's going to be out there. He's getting back Gibson on run the ball, and they're going to be able to establish that run, I feel. Now, just a couple quick stats on Brady. Now, Brady, he's one of the best of all time. I'm not a Brady fan at all. Wasn't a Patriots fan, anything like that. But quite honestly, if you give me all time to pick a quarterback, the quarterback my team is probably going to be Brady. But here are some stats on Brady now. This is Brady now. Brady is the 20th ranked quarterback under pressure. His ratio is 4 touchdowns to 5 interceptions per game, per pressure out there, which is just awful. And on top of that, he's ranked 23rd in completion rate when under duress. He's not mobile at all. Then on top of that too, Brady has not covered, not win, I'm just saying covered, in the last 7 games that have been at night. And that goes back to the Patriot days. The last 7 games have not covered, and you're giving me 8.5 points here. Washington, the last 7 games is 5-2. I really see this game really similar to how Washington was able to upset Pittsburgh and give them their first loss of the season. Pittsburgh and the Buccaneers, to me, are very similar teams in the fact that their running game is awful. They got fantastic wide receivers, an old quarterback who tries to get the ball out of his hand as fast as possible, and a very mediocre offensive line. It's a recipe for disaster, to be quite honest with you. And on top of that, they're playing in Washington. On top of that, it's going to be cold. It's the night game. And yeah, you're going to say, well, Brady played in New England all these years, so he should have no problem. I'm not talking about Brady in this instance. I'm talking about everybody else that's been playing in Tampa Bay in 90-degree weather every week. In the wintertime, they play in 70-degree weather. Now they're going to go to Washington, have to play in a game that's probably going to be 30, 40 degrees. This game is an absolute recipe for why this will be an upset, why Washington will beat Tampa Bay. But, hey, you don't want to believe me? At least take the points in this game. I took the points. I bet the money line. I think this game is going to be big for Washington. So, quick recap, real quick. Just the 6 games. Going to do it real fast. So, least favorite game is Bears plus 10. Then we got the over in the Cleveland-Pittsburgh game at 47.5. Then we had the under in the Rams-Seahawks game at 43.5. Bills minus 6. Love the Titans plus 3.5. And I'm going with the upset with Washington. But I'm also taking them at the plus 8.5. So those are the 6 games I got for you guys this week. Oh, don't forget the Josh Allen 2 rushing attempts. Over 25.5. I love that game. I love that stat as well. So thank you guys all again. I'm glad to be back. This has been On a Heater. Please like, share, subscribe. Send it to your buddy who's going to be in Vegas this weekend. Let him get on this money too and come jump on the money train with me as well. Let's go. I'm getting back on a heater, and here we go.